Hello everyone, Firemac here, and welcome back to the Shadowbringers New Game Plus Story Stream Recaps with me, Firemac, for Final Fantasy XIV. And we're continuing where we left off. We just beat Innocence, and we're about to head on our last leg of this journey. The Manager's Suites. Reassuring the masses, the Manager of Suites seems surprised to see you up and about. Oh, sir, you are awake. You were injured during the foray on Mount Gold, yes? I was here at my station as always, when they carried you in on a makeshift stretcher looking disturbingly bereft of vigor. And to compound my worry, the sky has, well, I'm sure you've seen, has everyone rather concerned, to say the least. Seeing you up and about is the first good news we've had in a while. So when you feel strong enough, would you mayhap consider a stroll around the city to reassure our anxious citizens? Braggy was one of those who helped convey you to your chambers, and he has visited several times since to inquire after your condition. So we're gonna go talk to Braggy, huh? Well, well, look who's back from the dead! Aye, it was a grim sight. Your companions looked fair ready to drop when they brought you in, so I offered a helping hand. Couldn't bear to see them struggle so. And you, my friend, I feared you had one foot in the grave, cold and lifeless. You were, like a corpse that was somehow still breathing. Then they told me some evil bastard went and snatched our poor exarch away in the midst of the chaos. Wicked wight. What is the world coming to? But moaning never solved a thing, did it? Nay, it's time like these that we Christerian folk stand tall and do what needs to be done. Trade with Yulmur is back on the table. We best make use of those resources to fortify the city against the Eaters, or whatever misery the fates deem fit to throw at us next. Speaking of misery, Chesamal was worried sick about you. A healer wringing her hands is not a sight you ever wish to see, let me tell you. Alright, let's... Docile Gate might actually be quicker. Oh, sweetie, you're alive! No one's been allowed to see you, even Spaziric's Kyrugians were forbidden from making visits. Reen was kind enough to tell me you were showing symptoms similar to Eater corruption, so I suppose there was a little any of us could have done for you in any case. As for your companions, they've been rushing hither and yon, seeking a cure to your condition. I worry to see their faces grown ever more haggard every time they pass through the Castellarium. I shall let them know you're awake, and when they come to see you, sweetie, please do convince them to rest a bit. They won't be helping anyone if they all collapse of exhaustion. Ah, and our own Morin has been a little better, I'm afraid. Has been a little better. He hasn't left the cabinet too busy with his nose buried in one dusting tome or another. Alright, to the Cabinet of Curiosity. Confound it! This says the same thing as the last! Mayhap I should approach the problem from a different perspective. Firemac, it is truly you and not some figment of my imagination? Oh, but that is wonderful. 'Twould seem our prayers have been answered. Feeling otherwise helpless, I've been scouring our shells for the wisdom to explain this most worrisome conundrum. Why, with all the light warnings defeated, has the light returned to obscure the sky? I must have pored over 100 tomes when no definitive conclusion seemed forthcoming. So many questions I would pose to the Exarch, and thus do I feel his absence all the more keenly. Now that you are awake, however, I am hopeful the search for our stolen steward might begin in earnest. Catless, meanwhile, leads the crystalline mean in preparations for battle, though against what foe we are as yet uncertain. Why not pay her a visit? I expect seeing you upright would be a much welcome relief. Nah. Catless is the crystalline mean person, right? Pretty sure. Called it. Firemac, alive and well, I see. You gave us all a proper fright, you know that? The friends you've made in the facets have been talking with me, wondering what could they do to help. Which is like all of you. I made friends with all of you. Anyway, I'm glad you've recovered enough to stand. You're not planning on striking out straight away, though, are you? I was hoping to have a better look at your equipment. If we'd been able to provide you with better weapons or sturdier helms, then maybe you would have won the day, and the Exarch would still be here. As such, we're keeping busy consulting each other on new forging techniques and designs and the like. If you could stand still a moment, I'd like to assess the gear we're trying to improve. Aye, well, that's some fine work, I must admit. It wouldn't be impossible to make something better, but we need to experiment with different patterns and materials, and I'm not sure we have that kind of time. That sounds like a challenge that he would enjoy. Greetings, Glenard. Glenard, the master of the stairs, is running his own errands now, is he? Glenard? Aye, well, my servers are distraught enough as it is, and I didn't want to crack the whip too hard. But never mind that. I'm thinking our absent genius and his epiphanies are the perfect answer to this predicament of yours. And by genius, you mean old Grenold? He is a man of unrivaled gifts, and I won't argue with you there. But what good does his talent do us if we can't bloody find him? No one's seen hide nor hair of Grenold since he wandered off some years ago. You know what he's like once he latches onto an idea. He's probably cloistered himself in some forgotten cave, completely absorbed in his latest creation. I wouldn't even know where to start looking. That does make things difficult. Still, if that eccentric is someone you're destined to meet, I wager he'll show up soon enough. In my time at the bar, many of the tales I've heard told of strangely fated encounters, even if a few of them might be stretching the truth just a bit. We'll keep our noses to the grindstone for the time being. On the off chance you do encounter Grenold, you'd be wise to take advantage of his brilliance rather than wait on our slow and steady progress. This is all talk for when you're fully recovered, of course. I'll let you get back to coalescing, eh? Ah, before you do that, you're actually the reason I came over here in the first place. I don't suggest partaking of my stock until you're properly well, but if you're passing near the stairs, then I've a regular who's eager to meet you. What? Who? Who the heck's gonna meet me at this point? I'd best be getting back. Just because the world's coming apart at the seams doesn't mean we have to follow suit now, does it? Here, we can't forget the heart upon which the city was founded, or the Exarch might not have much of a home to return to. Who the heck are we supposed to meet? In his garden, Catless looks at you with a concerned eye. Firemac, are you alright? I think a return to your sickbed might be in order. Or you might consider resting a while atop the watchtower next to the rookery. This annual sky doesn't make for the most soothing scenery, but the exort often like to stand there and feel the wind upon his face. Take a moment to feel the wind upon your face. Awesome. So where am I going? Over there? I think I remember that location. We have to go down there, right? Yeah. Look at all these people who are also doing this quest. Hopefully I should see you queuing up for the trial.
The people of this city have spirit, I'll give them that. They've not lost the will to fight. I can imagine how torn you must feel, looking at that sky. Knowing what it means to everyone. And that you're responsible.
The secrecy is worse. I'd rather people knew. I still can't believe it's coming from me. It's all such a mess.
Aye. An all too familiar one. Here you stand alone, expecting no one else to bear the burden for you. You're in a corner, and there doesn't seem to be any obvious way out. But that doesn't mean it's over. However hopeless it seems, you haven't lost yet. I remember looking up at the sky like this before. Being caught up in a strange kind of calm. It was after we realized we were responsible for the flood. When we resolved to journey to the source by taking our own lives. One last sacrifice. One last fight. One last failure. And then the Oracle appeared and, well, you know the rest. There were times in the years and decades that followed when I wondered if we might not have been better off just letting the rejoining happen. That we'd made one last mistake. But seeing that giant Talos stir to life cured me of any doubts I still had. Always we took the burden of fighting upon ourselves. That's what heroes do, isn't it? So we never had the chance to see anything like that. Our people coming together as one. To think that their hope still burned so bright. That they were still so eager to live, they would lift up their fellows, one on top of the other, till they reached the sky. No. We made the right decision. And I can finally feel proud of the part we played in helping this world survive. Well, come on then.
Give him go fist pump, man. Fist pump. Is our boy Arbert?
As I thought. What happened between us was no coincidence. My story may be finished, but the fates have gifted me a minor role in yours. I suspected as much the moment I realized you could hear me. But it's hard not to doubt yourself when you're the man who caused the flood. I was afraid to do anything more than watch for fear of making things even worse. But no longer. After all, the path I once walked is now yours to finish. For what it's worth, I cast my lot with yours. If you need a push, I'll be right there behind you. If you lose control, I'll do my best to stop you. So, let us be about it, hero.
You were up here all alone, brooding and fretting and wallowing in your woes. But look at you, grinning at nothing like a pollen-drunk pixie. Look at what you've done to your ether. It's a mess. And you have cracks running all through that pretty soul of yours. My poor little sapling. Whatever am I to do with you? Shall I yield up my throne? You could claim it, cut ties with the mortal world, hide away in the castle.
Nuh-uh, not doing that.
It won't fix the problem, but would it really matter? If any pesky heroes come calling with steel and magic, all of Il Meg will rise up in your defense. My crown and scepter are yours, if you want them.
Nah.
What? Don't give me that look. Of course I knew before I asked that you'd never ever heed such a wicked suggestion. And besides, what would become of my precious and ephemeral flower? Dear beloved sapling, you are lost, confused, and have precious little time to gather your wits. Your kind is always so preoccupied with what lies ahead, and so we muddle your vision with fog and glamour. But such trickery is easy to see through. Stand very, very still. Think not of where you need to go, but where you are right now at this moment, at this time, in this place. our cairn of crystal. From shadowed hood he watched you go, his ruby eyes with warmth aglow. See yourself as he saw you, and that shall be the clearest clue. You stand in his garden, dear sapling. Ask his flowers what they know, and you will surely find an answer. But what will you do with it, I wonder? I'll be watching and waiting. Waiting and watching.
Alright, so background noise might be an issue for the next 15 minutes, but it's fine because I'm not doing anything super important. Just doing what comes next. So, gotta gather information. Zemjanaimai. Jinaya. Oh ho, I did not expect to see you on your feet so soon. Surely you have not come in search of an Amuro. No, I'm not. What do I know of the Crystal Exarch? I'm happy to share, but I fear there will be no surprising revelations, as any in this city could tell. He is a man of wisdom and compassion and many untold secrets. But none can doubt his generosity. When the Crystarium was being constructed, he even allowed folk to plunder the tower for resources. He imposed no restriction upon us but one. No one except Exarch is permitted to dwell within the spire. Many seasons past, a comrade of mine was bold enough to ask the reason why. The Exarch merely smiled and said, because one day the Crystal Tower may vanish as suddenly as it arrived. Alright, so that to the Amuro launch. Where's the shard? There it is. Firemac, it is good to see you awake and alert, my friend. What's this about? You're not writing the Exarch memoirs, are you? I'm not sure how much I can tell you, considering we avoid asking too many questions. Unspoken rule on all that. If anyone has fresh insights to share, it'd be Captain Lena, if I'd say. She lost her parents to an Eater attack not long after she was born, and the Exarch saw to her upbringing. Outward appearances aside, those two are like grandfather and granddaughter. I imagine the news of his predicament hit her doubly hard. Not that our proud captain would ever let it show. If we decide to talk to Lena, she'll be at her usual post at the Axe Sensor Gate. And then we gotta go to the Cabinet of Curiosity. Oh, was there anything else you needed? If you have come for the results of my research into this persistent life, I'm afraid there's little to tell as of yet. Records pertaining to the Exarch? Well, I need no documentation to relay what little I know of his history, if that's what interests you. Less than a decade had passed since the coming of the Flood, when the Crystal Tower first flashed into existence. Its summoner, the Exarch himself, became known to the refugees in Lakeland soon after. He welcomed all who sought out the spire, be they locals who had lost their homes or Verbitites fleeing their ruined kingdom, and together they found the city. They found the city which would become the Crystarium. Some thought to call him king, for he refused to share his name, but the summoner did not deem himself worthy of royal address. Thus did the big people consider him scintillating skin, and so like the tower he had summoned and bestowed upon him the title of Crystal Exarch. As for his true name, well, to it seemed that is a mystery that remains unsolved to this day. It's not a mystery to me. No? Yeah, that's actually pretty close to right there. Captain Lena. Firemac, I was not told you had woken. A welcome surprise now, if only the Exarch was returned to us. He was taken by this rival of yours, was he not? Your companions mentioned they had an idea of where to find him. And so I bristled when they asked for patience. I did not understand their hesitation, till I saw you had fallen. Only then did I realize that I had no business rushing ahead. Even so, the delay has been no less agonizing. In the moments before he left to join you in Calusia, the Exarch entrusted me with a key. It opens a door in the ocular to a chamber known as the umbilicus. This room is the heart of the tower, which only the Exarch himself is permitted to enter. He bid me allow none into the tower once he had departed. Only in the event that an army of eaters descended upon the city, which I to access the umbilicus and awaken the defense barrier. Never before had he left me such instructions, but the battle with Vothri loomed near, and at the time I accepted the key without much thought. Since then, however, at the moment is all that occupies my mind. When I recall upon his face, he knew that some terrible fate awaited him. Tell me, Firemac, I need to know what he feared. What battle you and your companions are truly fighting. You know what? Might as well just tell her. No? I mean, I would tell Lena. Forgive me. I trust in the Exarch. I should not be voicing these doubts when he is not here to respond to them personally. I guess we shouldn't tell her everything, not yet. But you've come to me with a question of your own, have you not? Yeah, so what's going on with the Exarch, man? Ah, I see I'm not the only one who burns for answers. The time has come to open the tower's heart. Though we do not face an invasion of eaters, I suspect the city will be in far more danger if you do not gain the knowledge you seek. Lena. The unbroken thread. Lena urges you to follow her. Come, meet me in the ocular. I will unlock the door within. Teleport! Master Firemac, the captain said to expect you.
I have unlocked the door to the umbilicus. You are free to enter.
Umbilicus, that's...
Once you have what you require, I'll see it sealed once more. Until then, I will remain without.
Oh, flashback power activate!
A moment to collect my thoughts, I prithee. Thy true name is Grahatia, then? By thy claims, thou too art a native of the Source, though from an age beyond our own, when the 8th umbral calamity hath visited devastation upon our star. Thou hast, by subtle means, reached across the boundaries of time and space to unsow the seeds of catastrophe, ere its creeping vines drag our champion unto an early grave.
In essence, yes. A difficult story to swallow, I am sure.
I doubt not the veracity of thy words, not the account of thy coming, nor that of the fated calamity. Yet my mind straineth still to apprehend the enormity of this tale. Wouldst thou favor me with a gradual unfolding of its chapters?
Certainly. But where to begin? I should start with those great minds who survived the calamity. Sid Garland being perhaps the greatest. In hopes of staying the unending tides of war, he and his fellows pursued all manner of possible solutions. One of these was rooted in a theory which unified several fundamental principles discovered over the course of the Warrior of Light's adventures. It proposed a method by which one could enter the River of Time, traverse the rift, and leap between worlds. Perfecting that idea, however, was a work which consumed their lifetimes. And thus was it left to future generations to decide whether theory would be put into practice. But all the while, the world continued to burn. Hope was a feeble outpost, beset on all sides by thievery and misery and murder. People cried out in despair. There is no hope. We are finished. Mankind is finished. others raised their voices in answer. Though we be beyond salvation, those who came before may yet be saved. We will forge a crossroads and pave the way for a different future. By the wisdom of our forebears, we will prevent this calamity from ever having come to pass. The fighting went on unabated, but some few took up Cid's research and labored to realize those impossible ideas. After 2 centuries of labor, their descendants finally succeeded in awakening the Crystal Tower, an integral part of the process, and, in doing so, roused its caretaker, me. By this stage, scholars had largely established the phenomena underpinning the rejoining, and identified the first as the shard which precipitated the 8th umbral calamity. This grand structure was already capable of storing the energies required to attempt the translocation. All that remained was to augment some few of its functions based upon the theoretical models of Cid and his compeers.
And by means of such technologies didst thou affect thine arrival in the first, to an age before this star had joined with the Source.
Some while before, as it turned out. 'Tis all but impossible to predict how time will flow between one world and the next, and we missed our mark by almost an entire century. But this only worked in our favor. The Sin Eaters could not be defeated without the blessing of light, and summoning the only man who might stand a chance against them would require decades of preparation.
An undertaking of scarce credible endurance. That thou hast kept thy plan from falling into disarray these many years bordereth on the miraculous. Yet howsoever history be rewritten, thy present self was shaped by events which followed the calamity. Should said catastrophe be averted, the very skein of thine existence will unravel. Surely thou hast foreseen this.
I am aware of the consequences. 'Tis for that very reason Cid and his colleagues bequeathed their legacy as an offering, and not an edict. To give all of oneself for the happiness of others, and with no promise of reward. 'Tis a hard thing to ask. Harder still for those condemned to survive in a world which pitted brother against brother. Indeed, you are right to call the execution of this plan miraculous, though the force which held it together was nothing so inexplicable. It was him. The warrior of light has been our unbroken thread. Where others would stumble and fall, he would rise above. Where others would break and run, he would carry on. The Warrior of Light's tale is one of unyielding bravery. To tell it was to feel courage. To hear it was to feel hope. It was a breath of inspiration in an age of suffocating shadow. In the histories of a fallen nation was our hero hailed as its greatest ally. In the time-worn pages of a noble's memoirs were his deeds joyously retold. For many, these stories were the flame which warmed them through the coldest of nights. And so it should come as little surprise that the plan found no shortage of volunteers, concerning as it did the Warrior of Light himself. It was their chance to add their own verse to the hero's saga. He was the lodestar that brought them all together to send their final message back through time and space to him. The light of your legacy was our torch in the darkness. Burn bright again and live. I am merely the bearer of that wish, come to ensure it is safely delivered.
Wherefore sharest thou this burden with me and no other? What wouldst thou have me say?
That you will be my accomplice? 'Twas you yourself who convinced me of your suitability when you spoke of how you learned of the Flood and of your part in arranging Minfilia's journey to the First. Your actions showed uncommon resolve. 'Twas clear you were committed to the cause of saving this world. I knew I could trust you to choose the right path forward, even if that choice came with a heavy price.
What price?
When all is said and done, and the last of the Light Wardens lies slain, I will absorb their corrupted ether, and then I will die. Knowing what I know of your companions, not to mention your champion, they will try to stop me. But in saving one, they would save none. Therefore, I implore you to aid me in concealing my identity and ensuring this tale ends as it must. To this end, I would have you take what I have told you of the Calamity and make of it a portent, a prophetic vision you beheld in the swirling chaos of the Rift.
Is this truly thy wish?
History remembered the Warrior of Light, as I knew it would. And I will suffer no other to rescue the champion whose star has charted my course. I will see this tale to a happy end, my friend. There has been enough tragedy.
careful now. If you lose control again, the light could claim you for good. Although it's probably only a matter of time before you succumb to the change in any case. What do you mean to do?
I mean to have a few words with both Emmett and the Exarch.
Then we should be on our way. Diassian mentioned the Tempest, did he not? That's the stormy seas around Calusia to you. His lair must be down there somewhere, hidden beneath the waves.
Did you find the answers you sought? There is nothing more you need. If there is nothing more you need, I will go and lock the door. I need some directions. You wish to know the way to the Tempest? You mean the sea itself and not the island of Calusia. If you would make a request of the Tamers, they will provide you with an amaro, but... Do you mean to leave right this moment, alone? I'm not sure that... Nay, I will not seek to stop you. Go with the blessings of the Shadow, and I shall await your safe return. You require an amaro. Just a moment. I shall saddle our finest, our swiftest beast to fly you to the island. To open water, to the depths of the Tempest. Our amaro can swim, yes, but to reach the ocean floor?
Ah, we have found thee. Word reached us of thy recovery, and thus did we gather with all haste. Ah. By thy looks, I gather thou hast gleaned that which I came to tell thee.
Urianger has shared everything with us. The Exarch's true identity and purpose.
I offer no excuses. When I agreed to aid the Exarch with his plans, 'twas in full acceptance of the condemnation I would face when my duplicity was laid bare.
Nothing new, Urianger.
It is not rancor, but resolve that I sense in thee. Thou art fully intent upon walking thy path to its end, art thou not? If thou canst forgive my deception, or, failing that, set aside thy displeasure for a time, I do beg leave to follow thee. What strength and wisdom I possess are thine to command.
I forgive you. Let's go. 'Cause I'm not mad at you, Urianger. You've done this before.
I thank thee. Doubt not but that I will do all in my power to repay thy kindness and fulfill the Exarch's wishes.
You're a good man, Urianger.
I'm sorry, but I don't think this is a good idea. Leaving the Crystarium, I mean, with or without Urianche. What I did for you won't last forever. There's no telling when the light will break free again.
I want to break free.
Please, you must stay here. At least for a little while longer. We will find a way to cure this, I promise you.
Reen, we don't have the time.
How can you make promises? We don't even know where to start.
Alize, please. You know Reen was only trying to help.
Of course I know! I know only too well! But making promises you have no way of keeping is not a kindness. It's a lie. Plain and simple. We've all searched high and low for an answer, and every one of us came back empty-handed. I am not about to stand in his way now. Not after failing him in his hour of need. No! The least we can do is...
We will go with you as well. There is naught to be gained by standing still.
Indeed, we have exhausted every other avenue. Lead, and we shall follow. If there is any hope to be found, then we will surely find it at your side.
Are we all in agreement, then?
Is there aught we can do to help?
Though we may not know the whole story, we do know you're in for a fight. And while the Exarch's away, it falls to the rest of us to see the Warrior of Darkness is given a proper send-off.
You told them!
No! Well, not in so many words.
Aye, we didn't need it spelled out for us. When the night sky appeared over whichever place you went to, it was harder not to put two and two together.
From the moment I heard that you and the Exarch shared the homeland, I had my suspicions. Long had he been waiting for a certain someone to arrive. And I knew at once that it must be you.
Exactly. When he went up to meet you, it was clear it was no ordinary visitor. That spring in his step spoke volumes. I could feel his excitement.
That's right!
We do not fully understand where you or the Exarch hail from, or why you've all done so much to protect us. But we are deeply grateful nonetheless. So, if there is anything at all we might do to aid your journey, you need only name it. What would you have of us?
You might have invited them to join us, where there are not so many. But come, they are waiting. What is your will, O Warrior of Darkness?
Defend the Crystarium until we return. Leave it to us. We'll see Exarch and home safe and sound. Let's go with this one. Leave it to us. We'll see the Exarch home safe and sound. Thou didst plan to commandeer an Amaro for thy journey to the open sea? I fear for falling down onto Emek Selk's underwater abode would drain even thy legendary stamina. Thus, during thy convalescence, we consider the most efficacious method for reaching the depths of the Tempest, and I believe we have arrived at an elegant solution. Yet, ere we discuss this step, I suggest thou dost conclude such pressing business as remains to thee in the Crystarium. Once the sea closeth above our heads, we are unlikely to surface again until our grand deed is done. To storm-tossed seas. Uranje is patiently waiting your word that you are ready to depart. Thine affairs are in order? Then I shall unfold to thee my proposal. Our destination is the ocean floor, yet our goal is not simply to arrive there. Nay, we must needs have the means to breathe and fight freely. Thus would I petition the aid of one of the Fae, a being with whom I have yet to meet face to face. Rather than waste words on explanation, I bid thee follow me unto the hamlet of Solon, which lieth to the south and west. All will become abundantly clear, I promise thee. There, to the west, canst thou discern the hump of an isle rising above the water? The foliage-covered mass hideth the key to our safe descent. Swim close and plunge thee beneath the surface. Thou shalt soon divine the reason of mine insistence. Though it be much to my shame, I can but flail and one flounder where thou mayest glide as a fish. I shall board a boat to the island, and spare one of all the spectacle of mine inept strokes. What a long-winded way of saying that he just can't swim. My God. Can't help but love the guy. Down we go. Suspect rock formation. It's completely sus. Two curved slabs of rock seem squeezed together, giving the impression of a giant stone eyelids. Interesting. Eyes, you say? I wonder why. Though it appears solid enough, the rock yields slightly under your touch. Was the surface gently shifting, or was it just your imagination? Hey, go up. Well, what hast thou discerned? I've discerned that it's an ordinary island? It reminds me of a certain primal. It's just like the big one. Yes, yes. It's just like the big one. Yes, yes. What am I supposed to be emulating there? I guess the Vanu Vanu. Reminds you of a certain primal. Most perceptive. According to the lore of the Pixies, we are even now perched upon the back of an ancient Fey entity. His name is Bismarck. Aye, the self-same title which we know the great feathered whale revered by the Vanu Vanu of the source. I would enlist its aid to bear us onto the deep, and thence banish the water with an airy sphere, alike in form of the domes which do shelter the hamlets neath the Ruby Sea. Within its compass may we move unencumbered and defend ourselves when the hour battle cometh, as it most surely shall. Most surely shall. Now I must needs ask for silence whilst I make my supplication.
Wir Sach, Bilan Bismail.
O great and serene Bismarck. Oh my god. Long has it been since my name was called. Why do you wake me, little neighbor?
Fallen si lor wislan. Ada si alina.
To the bottom of the western sea we go. Pray lend us your back and your breath. This world is in twilight. I wait for the sun to set. I wish only to sleep.
Oh dear. I don't need to speak Fey to know that didn't go well.
We need Fail Ul!
Where do you go? On a trip? A journey? I knew you wouldn't give up without a fight. Oh, my precious mortal, I shall help you in any way I can. Guess Bismail win picked. Van dromi drom yakum.
Sleepy Bismarck, you old pixie, these are my precious, precious saplings.
Van Red Rithye.
Well, that was really short. Let their wishes be the king's command. What a rare thing to awaken to. My beautiful king, if it be thy wish, then so shall it be done.
Be sure to scrub this one's teeth for him upon your return. It's only good manners.
It will be done, Your Majesty. Our deepest thanks for your timely intervention.
Man, how screwed we...
An agreement is reached and your departure is at hand. You wingless ones best hold on tight.
How screwed would we have been if Fail Ul was never there? You know, if the X-Ray didn't happen to find the one pixie that was cool with people and give it to us.
May the blessings of the Fae keep you safe, Inba.
Literally, like, I want to say like at least 3 occasions now they've saved our butt. To the Western Sea we go. Wrapped in my breath, I will see you to your destination, little neighbors. Look at this majestic beast.
And just like that, it's all gone back to the way it was.
What was you expecting? 100 years of honey and rainbows? Seeing them Yulmore types wake up and smell the ashes was miracle enough for me.
Ah, the magic in the air when that ladder started moving. And when that great hulking Talos rose up. Gods. I could live 1,000 years and never behold anything so amazing.
What the? Do you see that?
What a monster! Where did it even come from?
Oh, yeah!
It's not stopping. Run! Run!
Those guys got screwed. I have fulfilled my duty. I return now to the lake. I have not flown in an age. It was pleasant. May your journey be a safe one, little neighbors. Yay, we're dead. We're just all on the freaking underfloor.
Wow.
The breath of Bismarck. See how it swells to form a dome beneath the waves? The waters recede. The tempest's floor is laid bare. In defiance of the blinding sky, this place holds fast to its gloom. The last refuge of he who denies the light with every fiber of his being. You stand at the precipice, hero. Journey unto the heart of darkness. Finish it.
We finally arrived at the final location, the Tempest. That's it, we're finally on the last leg, everybody. Of the base game, anyway. Ha! Ha! Oh! Full glad am I that Bismarck was true to his word. We are arrived in the Tempest, safe and dry. 'Tis here that we shall find the lair of Emmett Selk, and I believe the imprisoned Exarch as well. For an Ascian alone, it is of course a trifling matter to flee onto the rift, yet I suspect such travel is nigh impossible with a mortal in one's custody. Nay, he would not risk his prize when the Exarch's very body serveth as the key to the Crystal Tower and its powers of temporal transportation. Thus I am full but certain that this underwater realm harboureth our friend and enemy both. We have but to find them. In the event you leave the area, blah blah blah, okay.